sound is going to play in the living room of millions of people. I mean, literally in the living room. It's going to appear in their living room. So it's got to make them feel that they are Batman.
Sound-wise, I think, again, we're trying to put that reality on them and make them feel kind of a little bit of grit to them, almost a little dirty, because that's kind of real.
It had its own personality, and I kind of liked that because it wasn't trying to copy anything or be a movie. It was actually trying to make a good game, and it was more story and character-driven.
Probably for about 2/3 of the game, you're not entirely sure where you're headed with this, and so it's got to make the player feel uneasy. Even like the simpler sounds like rain, those kind of relatively mundane sounds are the ones, like a light buzzing, they're the ones that can really freak people out the most.
Same thing with the weapons, too. The weapons that we did need to be very realistic sounding versus, high-tech, but it still could exist today.
So we've got a week's worth of Foley books with Warner Brothers just to record things like people jumping, people landing. They're the most important sounds for me. Everything that Batman does, everything he reacts to, it's got to sound not just believable, but it's got to sound like you are Batman. It's got to put you in the shoes of Batman.
You know you want to.
Since this is a case where everything's made up, it's not like you went out and recorded Batman out in the field. We have to add all that stuff and blend it so that it actually feels real.
What do you hear? What kind of would capture the emotion? So computers kind of allow us to create kind of an audio junk sculpture, so to speak.
There can be a little bit of a disconnect if the sound isn't correct with feeling like that character is actually real, a real actual person. And so getting all those little details, the Foley and the sound design that is associated with each of those characters, right, really adds to them being real.
What we're trying to do is to create the best video game score for a Batman game.
The initial idea actually was not to write anything that was very similar to Hans Zimmer, Danny Elfman, or James Newton Howard. So, of course, that left a big, wide open space for us to discuss what exactly we're going to do.
I'm quite interested in lots of music, kind of contemporary classical music. And there's lots of, obviously it's set in an asylum. There's lots of textures that we can lift from that kind of music that really suits the atmosphere of an asylum. Composers like Penderecki and Silvestrov and Cancelli, they kind of create really extreme orchestral textures in a completely different context. Kind of like horror music in a way. It's contemporary classical concert music.
Nick had written a theme for Batman itself.
There's one theme for the game, which is on that wall there. Often you get, especially from publishers, you get this idea that, okay, so there's Batman, so he'll have a theme. There's the Joker, he'll have a theme. And then at some point they'll have a fight, and so there'll be a Batman and Joker musical fight. I'm much more interested in the player experience. So we've got a theme, like a bit of musical DNA really, that is in every single piece of music. Is our theme.
Get up! Now!
It's our theme as well. We tried to get it into everything. That's the plan.
There's no escape, Joker. I will find you.
Every instrumental hue is like, if it was a colour, it would be like reflective of the colours we've chosen there. Like dark blues, dark browns. It's a dark score, not just the melodic and harmonic material, but the actual instrumentation. Extremely loud, fast, busy, atonal, lots of dissonance, and then right back to kind of more traditional, kind of straight-ahead Hollywood film score.
We played with the voice a little. Joker gets a bit darker than the animated series.
Nasty and yet sweet in a weird way, bittersweet, but very nasty.
Note to self, need stronger test subjects.
The most important sounds of the game are the sounds of Batman. The way Batman moves through the environment. Anything Batman does, obviously, is key to the player.
Batman sounds like Batman. No, you can't ask more than that.
Another mutation. If Joker's making these monsters, he hasn't perfected the formula yet. I need to hurry.
Well, in here, it's a few days of just me, and that's, 6 to 8 hours a day. In a half an hour show, it's a 2-hour booking session with 8 actors. Just today, we were in here for hours doing only my lines. That's much more than you'd ever do in a half an hour animated show, because there's never only one character. So there's a lot more work involved in these, but it's worth it.